it's going.
Hi, I'm Ann Weiland from Emmanuel Community United Methodist Church, and I'd like to welcome you to Once Upon a Bible Time. Today's story is called Lost on the Journey. Evie and Grandpa had been talking for a while when Evie noticed something. She tapped on the computer screen. Grandpa, Theo's got a new collar. Grandpa's calico cat, Theo, had been sitting quietly on Grandpa's lap, enjoying some attention and petting. Yes, Evie, the old collar was getting cracked, and I was afraid it might break and fall off. Do you like this one? Oh, yes, it has many pretty colors. Does Theo like it? I think he does. I also got a new ID tag for him. Since I'm not using my landline anymore, I thought I'd better get a tag with my cell phone number. How come Theo has an ID tag, Grandpa? He can't even read. If Theo gets lost, whoever finds him can use the ID tag to let me know, and I'll go and get him and bring him home. Oh, that's a good idea, said Evie. Theo wouldn't want to be lost. She knew all about being lost. She'd gotten separated from her mom once in the grocery store, and it was scary. No, Evie, replied Grandpa, and I wouldn't want Theo to be lost. Let me share a story that Jesus told about being lost. Once upon a Bible time, there was a shepherd named Toby. Toby cared for the sheep that belonged to his family. There were 100 sheep, and Toby took care of them all. Toby was a good shepherd. During the winter, the sheep huddled together in a covered shelter near the family's home. They were protected from the cold rains and the wind, and Toby brought them food and water every day. But when springtime came, Toby would bring the flock up into the hills where the grass grew. Each morning he would count them and walk with them to a field. At noon, he would lead them to a small, quiet pond and let them drink. He always kept an eye out for larger animals that might hurt his sheep. He carried a long stick with a club at one end called a rod. He would use the rod to clobber an attacker. He also had a slingshot and some small stones that he could shoot at predators before they got too close. In the evening, he would bring the sheep back to the protected area he had created for them in the hills. And Toby would sleep there with the sheep. Often he would sleep right across the opening of the area, so no sheep would wander off in the night. He also made sure that no wolf or hyena would go in and bother the sheep. Why didn't Toby go home to his family and sleep there at night? Evie wondered. The journey was too far for the sheep to go every day, Evie, especially in the spring when there were baby lambs that had little short legs. Oh, they must have been so cute. I love baby animals. Toby loved the babies and the older sheep too. He named all the sheep so that he wouldn't be lonely away from home. They were his friends, and each one had his own personality. Sassy loved to run at Toby from behind and try to knock him over. Boots would kick the other sheep away from a particularly long patch of grass. Hershey loved to be cuddled and tickled. Every afternoon, when Toby would play tunes on his flute, Luciano would wander over and listen. But one morning, Tony only counted 99 sheep as they left the nighttime pen. What had happened? Maybe I counted wrong, thought Toby. So he rounded up all the sheep and counted them again as they went back into the pen. This time he looked closely at the sheep. Was one of them missing? 96, 97, 98, 99. He counted. Where was Boots? Toby was worried. He put his long rod across the opening of the pen, knowing the rest of the flock would stay safely inside, and left to find Boots. First he ran to the river. He sure hoped Boots hadn't fallen in the river. How come, Grandpa? Didn't Boots know how to swim? It was early in the spring, Evie, and Boots's wool was still long from the winter. Wool absorbs water like a sponge, and it gets so heavy that the sheep can't move. Sheep can drown in a river if the water is moving fast. Oh no, Evie said. Was Boots in the river? Nope, Boots was not, Grandpa continued. Toby sighed in relief, and then he ran up a rocky hill and looked over the far side. There was a sheep, way at the bottom. "Boots!" Toby called. Boots looked up and began to bleat. The sheep's head bobbed up and down. Boots must have wandered off in the dark and tumbled down the hill. One leg was stuck between two big boulders. Toby scrambled down, singing softly as he approached. Hearing the voice coming closer, Boots stopped struggling. Toby used the curved part of his staff to grab Boots' back end and lift it straight up. The leg came free. Toby gave Boots some water and handfuls of grass, and then he walked around the hill on flatter ground, while Boots followed back to the pen. Boots was happy to be back with the flock. Toby was happy to have his friend back safe and sound. As he let the other sheep back out of the pen for the day, he gave each one a pat on the head while counting. 98, 99, 100. All the sheep were safe. Toby loved his sheep, didn't he, Grandpa? Yes, Evie, he did. And Jesus told that story to remind everyone how God loves each person. God knows everyone's name and their personality. God loves us and wants to be safe nearby. God doesn't want anybody to be lonely or hurt or lost. It's scary to be lost, Grandpa. Yes, Evie, it is, and that's why it's good we have God and our parents and other people who love us. They can be like our shepherd and help us find our way back when we're lost. Of course, Theo has his ID tag so I can find him because, you know, he doesn't always come when I called. Theo never comes when you call, laughed Evie, but I love Theo anyway. Clearly, Theo knew Grandpa and Evie were talking about him. He looked up and blinked, climbed off of Grandpa's lap onto the computer desk. He flicked his tail twice at the camera, and Evie laughed, and then he jumped down and ran off. I think Theo is ready for his dinner, Grandpa said. I'd better go and take care of him. Theo needs you now, Grandpa. Talk to you later, said Evie. Love you lots. Bye-bye, Grandpa clicked off. The end.
Okay,